well, first of all, congratulations to you guys. Good to see you.
Thank you.
you.
Good to see you.
I really want to know the answer to this because I know that Far From Home is coming out, obviously. I'm curious how involved you were in the production of that movie in regards to what scenes took place in Far From Home that affected what you guys did in Endgame, in the sense of what's your conversations with John Watts like?
I mean, we weren't super involved in it. I mean, John Watts, Chris McKenna, who worked on the script, are heavily involved and have been heavily involved in Marvel for the last few years. So, they get to read the Endgame script, they see the movie, and of course they're picking up the ball and running with it from that movie. So they obviously they're gonna have a lot of events to tie into it.
I think it was more of them looking at what was happening in Endgame as it was unfolding and figuring out how they pull that forward. This is one thing that Joe and I have always loved about the Marvel processes. Kevin Feige is really amazing at sort of keeping things separate to the degree that is necessary for every movie to sort of become its own thing and not get too distracted by what's happening elsewhere. And it's really a process of just looking back and seeing what work has been completed yet on a script level or especially on a finished film level, and then how do you take that as a jumping off point for what's going to happen next.
Now, with this re-release happening Friday and then Far From Home hitting theaters Tuesday, I know you saw Far From Home last night. As somebody who directed Endgame, what's it like for you to sit in a theater and watch that story continue on your own? Like, what is it like for you to experience that? How they handled your storyline?
It was both kind of shocking and thrilling, to be honest with you, because one of the great experiences of Endgame for Joe and I, which is unlike our experiences on our previous 3 Marvel movies, which was we were not thinking about the future at all. Like our job on Endgame was to simply bring things to a close, and sort of have them sort of climax in the most exciting, satisfying way we can possibly think of. And that was actually very creatively liberating, I think, for Joe and I, to not have to think forward for the first time, to not go, where can this possibly go? What are we going to do with this next? This was just about how do we end things? And so to then all of a sudden to watch it move forward, was exciting and also surprising. And there were certain things about it, you inevitably can't sort of avoid sort of projecting into the future. Some of that was there, but certainly I was much more surprised than sort of seeing what I expected.
It's crazy. Now, oddly enough, one of my favorite scenes in Endgame, you guys are probably gonna think I'm joking, but I'm not, is the taco scene with Paul Rudd. And I just want to know how many times it took to shoot that. Who was resetting those tacos? Like, how many times that is one of the funniest, most random things. That Hulk comes over with the tacos. How many times did you shoot that? And how many resets of tacos did you have to do?
We shot that pretty quick. I mean, that's a real throwback to our Community Arrested Development days. We probably shot thousands of gags like that in the last 20 years. And so, we knew it was going to be a weird aside in this quirky little bit, and
but
the tacos.
Our props and effects people, everybody that's one of the great blessings of working on these movies has been like the level of our collaborators is like so unbelievable. So it's like everybody on that set. You just describe a gag, and boom, it works. You know what I mean?
I remember, was that a CG taco that Hulk hands him?
For a part of it, while Hulk's holding it, it is. But as it turns into into Paul's hand,
who was on lettuce detail? I want to know who's like cleaning up your shots and like resetting them. That's amazing.
That's our prop team and our effects team.
Obviously, one of the biggest moments in this film, which people can see when they see the re-release, is Cap wielding Thor's hammer. It's just one of the greatest moments I've ever seen in an action film. From a filmmaking standpoint, when you film that on set, I know there's tons of CG involved. What do you give Chris and Chris that they're passing back and forth? How do you make it look like they're really doing that?
It actually is a hammer. It's light. It's rubber. It's easy for them to hold. They'll do a couple takes with the actual props, and there's a rubber axe as well. But they'll mime a few takes, and I think the one that we actually used in the movie was a mimed take.
Yeah, it is. But
they've gotten very good at like the shape of holding objects and swinging them in a way that you can feel the weight of it, and then we're just putting that stuff in post.
But having those stand-in objects are very important because it allows the actor to sort of use it and understand the mechanics of how it functions, and then they can mime it.
Couple quick rapid fire things because I know we're running out of time. But at the end, when I Am Iron Man, Thanos dusted Gamora, and I know probably we can't get into too much detail here, but would she be dusted because of that snap? In the sense of I know that searching thing comes up, but I mean, wouldn't theoretically she be part of the dusting?
So the argument could be that Tony wished away all of the evil, right? Was she
not
evil?
thinking of Gamora?
The enemy, right? Yeah, the enemy. So
interesting.
Is she still alive? Who knows? That's a story for another time.
If Tony in fact wanted to just eliminate Thanos and his entire army, was she at that moment still a part of his army?
Wow. All right, last thing, and I know you guys have explained the multiverse a zillion times. Yeah. This part I still can't wrap my mind around.
Yes.
When Cap goes back, where is the Cap in that world? So when he goes back to the early days, is there still another Captain America in that world?
Yeah, so the way that it would work, right, is that when Captain America goes back, he would create a branch reality.
Right.
Okay? Now, he would exist in that branch reality with a second Captain America who is frozen in ice.
So the other Cap still exists in that world. So did Peggy not know that other Cap?
Well, that other Cap is frozen in ice.
And Peggy understood that he was dead at that point in the storytelling, because Cap went back to a point in time where nobody knew he still was alive, frozen in ice.
Now, it's also a story for another time, as of course, if he created a branch reality, he would then have to use a Pym particle to come back. Or this reality to hand that shield off.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Well, guys, thank you so much for bringing this back to cinema. To me, the best thing is the theatrical experience. Seeing you guys at Lockheed on that gigantic IMAX screen, and then the aspect ratio is unbelievable. I just thank you guys so much for making movies that make us love.
Well, thank you.
Movies.
We thank the fans. I mean, it's been an incredible experience for us.
And last thing, is there something that people haven't noticed yet in Endgame? Like I remember the Q&A.
I think I thought of something the other day, and now I can't remember what it is. But I was like, oh, nobody's got that yet.
What is it?
I don't know. Who knows? Somewhere online, I'm sure someone's figured it out. But there are a lot of little Easter eggs in that one. Like, it's very dense. Endgame.
It is, but also, I want to say thank you to you, Kevin, because for as much as Joe and I love making movies, we love talking about movies. That was our entire life growing up before we ever tried to make movies. So, the dialogue around these movies is so exciting and thrilling to us, and you drive such an amazing part of that dialogue. So thank you for that.
Thank you for saying that. It means the world to me. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.